trying to get my computer organized over here. Thank you for joining us for our morning update. It is Tuesday, September 3rd. I know a lot of you are headed back to work after enjoying a nice long weekend. I'm a little bit jealous. We were all up here bright and early, long before the sun rose yesterday, and again today. So hopefully you're having a good day so far. If you're joining us for the first time, this is how it works. We're just having a conversation about some of the popular stories that you're sharing on Facebook, that you're clicking on khou.com. Leave your comments and questions, and we will circle back to those. We are also going to check in with Cheetah for a look at the local forecast, as well as the latest on Dorian's track. But we are starting with a story out of Alabama. This is the #1 story you guys are clicking on khou.com, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. This is the scene outside of a home in Elmont, Alabama, which is just south of the Tennessee border, where 5 members of a family were killed, and investigators there say a 14-year-old is responsible. They say he's the one who called for help last night. When first responders got there, they found 3 people dead. 2 were airlifted to the hospital, but they died on the way there. Another station is reporting that the victims are the teen's father, stepmother, and siblings. We're talking about a 14-year-old boy who investigators then interviewed, and they say during that interview he confessed to shooting and killing all 5 of his family members. This is still a developing story. Again, the shooting happened last night. The new developments came overnight. About 3 a.m. is when the sheriff's office tweeted out that new information about the confession. So this is something we'll be monitoring, and I'm sure we'll get new information later in the afternoon to be sure. Next up, the chicken sandwich wars. You know, Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, I guess Killen's is now in on this too. It's taking kind of a violent turn because in Houston last night, a guy decided to pull out a gun and threaten employees who told him Popeyes was out of chicken sandwiches. I don't really have words for this. Here's what we know happened. The guy walked in, he was with a group, tried to order a chicken sandwich. An employee told him, nope, we're out. So the guy pulled out a gun and said, give me the chicken sandwich, like the employee was somehow just, harboring a chicken sandwich that he didn't want to give to the guy behind the counter. In fact, they were out, and employee called police. The guy and his group eventually left in a blue SUV, and police are hoping some surveillance video inside the store will help find that guy. Some people, Next up, Dorian, kind of cruising, not really. It's stalled over the Bahamas. It's showing a little bit of movement now, but just take a look at that storm. So well organized and powerful. It basically locked down over Grand Bahama for 24 hours, hitting it with crazy winds. It's now a Cat 3, and we want to check in with Cheetah for the very latest on the tropics. Cheetah?
Brandy, we've really been monitoring a lot. The heat here locally, and then, of course, the big national story, Hurricane Dorian and all that it's done to the Bahamas and how close now it's getting across portions of the East Coast. We're talking mainly Florida. Let me show you how active we are in the Atlantic. I mean, look at all of this. Now, this is pretty typical for this time of the year. We would expect this for this time in September. September the 10th is the peak of hurricane season, and whoa, hello. So just off the coast of Africa, here's the Cape Verde Islands there, and notice how it's just west of tropical disturbance. Then sitting in the open Atlantic, we have another wave. Here's Hurricane Dorian, clearly pops up on our satellite imagery, and then centered there in the southwestern portion of the Gulf of Mexico is potential tropical cyclone 2, which would take on the next name, Fernand. So we will continue to monitor that, but that can happen at some point this afternoon and maybe early tomorrow morning. Let me talk first about this wave, because if there would be anything that would impact Houston, it would be this right here. So the red, the bright tops on our tropical satellite imagery, that's showing the cluster of thunderstorms. That's showing where all that deep tropical moisture is. Notice the direction that this is all traveling, basically into Mexico. Now, we do have some strong thunderstorms in South Texas right now, but otherwise we're looking at maybe a few showers. I mean, if we had to do anything, we would say a few showers here locally right along the coastal areas. but that's about it. A 30% chance max right along the immediate coast, maybe a 10% chance for a shower once you head in town and especially north of town. So you mainly have a hot and dry day set up. Let's focus a little bit on Dorian. I know you've been hearing this on a big national level. We've been talking about this for several days now, just catastrophic damage across portions of the Bahamas. But at this point, I do want to show you, here's the center of circulation, so the eye. The eye is barely moving northward, but as it takes that northerly track, that's going to make all the difference. So notice how now the movement northwest at 1 mile per hour. Early this morning, starting around 4 a.m., it was completely stationary. And that's basically what happened yesterday afternoon and evening as well. So that 1 mile per hour movement, as slow as that is, that's actually moving just a little bit here north of the island. Now, the outermost bands, you can see how it extends well past the center of circulation. So we're going to start to see some of these heavy downpours across portions of Florida. Now, your maximum sustained winds at 115 miles per hour still keeps Dorian at a Category 3 hurricane. So that's still a major hurricane. Again, barely moving just north of the islands here. Notice watches and warnings already in effect for portions of the Florida coastline there. So the downpours, especially around the outer bands there, and then of course the storm surge as well is what we will continue to monitor. Now we get into early tomorrow morning, Wednesday, we're still dealing with a Category 3 hurricane and it's not moving very much. So this is going to be very slow moving and not much change over the next couple days. We get into early Thursday morning and now we're north of Florida near Georgia and heading into South Carolina. Notice how those watches and warnings still in effect. And then this is where it becomes pretty close to land once you head into North Carolina late Thursday afternoon into Friday morning. That's where storm surge could really be into North Carolina, portions of 3 to upwards of 9 feet. And then we do start to lose a little bit of its steam with Dorian as we head into Friday. But this entire week we're going to be tracking Dorian all up the eastern seaboard. Then it moves out into back into the open Atlantic. And it shouldn't really disrupt the U.S. anymore. But we have an entire week to continue to monitor Dorian. Here locally, clouds in place. We have seen a few thunderstorms, a few showers. So if you're waking up in Galveston or maybe the coastal areas in Matagorda or Brazoria County, you did wake up to a few showers this morning, and you can still see that on our radar. So a lot of this offshore activity going to try to make it onshore. Remember, it's got that counterclockwise circulation around that tropical wave that's in the Gulf. Because we have high pressure in control, I'm not expecting much activity within most of the area. So today, your rain chance is a 10% chance. It's really just hot and humid. But our coastal areas, I would say about a 30% chance just because of some of that deep tropical moisture in the Gulf. Galveston from Tiki Island to Texas City, near Port Bolivar, you see there's that higher rain chance. Overall, some of you have seen a little bit of rain, not everyone though today. Take a good look at the 7-day forecast. If you missed it yesterday, if you took Labor Day off, you decided to sleep in, if you've seen this, my goodness, it's going to be a scorcher over the next 7 days. Highs today go to 99, 100 in the forecast tomorrow and Thursday, maybe even Friday as well. Yesterday we hit a high of 99. Feels like temperatures up to about 103 today, up to about 105 tomorrow and Thursday. And then even through the weekend, rain chances stay slim and those temperatures stay high. So first week of September, Brandy, it's really coming in hot. I'll send it back to you.
As hot as it's going to be today, I have a suggestion. I think you should stay inside. Don't run. Don't go for a run outside. Stay inside and watch a scary movie. Because science says that's basically like exercising. Okay, not exactly, but here's what a cardiologist with the Mayo Clinic says. When you get spooked, your heart rate increases, so your blood flows faster to your muscles, your adrenaline spikes. It's basically like fight or flight instinct, or your body's response to exercise. So the doctor says watching scary movies is unlikely to hurt healthy people, but he says if you're trying to lose weight, this probably isn't the best way. Also, because when you're like sitting there, you're probably eating some popcorn or having a beer or eating something else unhealthy. So it's probably not a good workout regimen. But today I'm just giving you a pass. Just curl up with a scary movie. Don't go on a run outside. It's going to be too hot. Also, let me know what your favorite scary movie is. We had a whole debate about this earlier on H-Town Rush. Cheetah does not watch them. Period. End of story. I shouldn't, because I end up having nightmares for weeks, but it doesn't stop me because I love that adrenaline rush. Leave your comments and we'll come back to them. All right, it's Brandon's favorite time of the morning. Not because he doesn't love reading your comments, but because he isn't very excited about kind of the on-air part of this.
Well, you know, I got into the background of TV work so people could hear my voice more. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
You get to hear his soft, soothing voice on the other end of this. What we got?
All right. We want to say good morning to a couple of our viewers. We have Jocelyn. Good morning to you. Andrew and Pat. We do have a couple comments on the Popeyes story. Dion says, wow, all over a chicken sandwich.
I've been at a loss for words so many times this morning reading this story because it just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. One, I understand, you go and you really wanted the chicken sandwich. Okay, but they don't have it, and pulling a gun probably isn't gonna get it, or if it does, I keep going back to the movie, what is it called, Waiting, and thinking about the things that they will do to your food when you threaten violence. So maybe just don't take a no as a no.
Yeah, I haven't had one of these sandwiches yet, but
Neither have
I can't imagine it's that good. You know, I mean, they're probably great, but
not worth going to jail.
yeah, not worth. There's probably not a lot of chicken sandwiches in jail, or not ones you.
Not
really
ones you
kill
want to
for.
eat.
Yeah.
No.
One of our viewers, Amy, says now she's scared to go to Popeyes, and I'm with her. I might avoid Popeyes for a while.
I think it just depends on the time of day you go anywhere. It's and what neighborhood you're going into, which sounds terrible, but I'm cognizant of that. There are some places I'm just not going to go at certain times of the day. For a variety of reasons. Sometimes traffic, sometimes crime. We've got Nick over here training. So Nick can take over for Brandon on days when it's necessary. And the faces, I wish we just had a live stream of the faces Nick is making right now. Okay. Is there anything else over there?
I think that's what we got for now.
All right. Well, we'll have another update at 2:15, tracking the latest on Dorian, of course, and updates from West Texas. You'll probably hear a little more about the shooting in Alabama, the 14-year-old who confessed to killing his family there. We will be back here tomorrow. I don't know what combination of us, but we'll be here. Have a good day.